How are women who are sexually active viewed and treated differently from those who are not? How is rape harmful to community and family reputations? Let's think about the value of women's virginity and how society attempts to control women's sexuality. One historian argues that, for women, the one ideal most valued was female chastity before marriage. On the other hand, men's sexual activity is encouraged. So if men are encouraged to have sex with women, but women are not supposed to be having sex, who gets to be open about being sexually active? And is it even consensual sex? In the 19th and 20th century, Mexican Americans in the Southwest had a narrow view of what women's sexuality should be. Rape cases were viewed as an attack to the community's honor due to the high value placed on women's virginity. As a result, men took a special responsibility in protecting or controlling women to keep their honor safe. To further analyze this concept, I want to share an article published in 1893 in a newspaper called The Voice of the People. The article, called What Are the Laws For?, is about a rape case that took place 3 years prior to its publication. We learned that Berta Strauss, a teenager from a low socioeconomic class, was intoxicated and raped by Eddie, an older man from a high social class. This article is a cry for justice, as the author brings to light that despite the countless evidence, Eddie is still free due to his high status. Sexual violence against women by men in higher positions has been part of our history for centuries. A historian analyzed letters written by priests describing the depredations of the soldiers against Indian women. In one of these letters, a priest describes that the military commanders were lax in enforcing military discipline, and they failed to punish immoral soldiers who assaulted native women. Soldiers were allowed to violently rape Indian women without facing any consequences for centuries. So how can we expect Berta's perpetrator to be punished? If the system has allowed for similar crimes to go unnoticed, then Eddie's freedom only makes sense. Moving on to a different time, historian Vicky Ruiz analyzes interviews of women born in the early 20th century to demonstrate how women's sexuality was controlled by the men in their community. Ruiz describes families as a hierarchy, whereby elders attempted to dictate the activities of youth for the sake of family honor. A family's standing in the community depended, in part, on women's purity. Loss of virginity not only tainted the reputation of an individual, but of her kin as well. We can imagine that Berta was part of a similar hierarchy where she was meant to be protected by the males in her community. The newspaper article also emphasizes the different social classes in various ways. For example, the author establishes the following question. What would have Eddie supporters say if the crime had been committed by someone poor who did not have money and influence? Maybe they would have been the first ones to speak up, asking for mob justice as they do with the Negroes in the South. It is clear that Eddie is not facing the law because of his social class, comparably to how soldiers, given their position of power, did not face any consequences and felt free to rape Indian women. Berta is described as a doncella, or maiden, which in Spanish refers to a young girl who has not had sexual relations. However, in a rape case, is it ever important whether the victim was a virgin? The choice of words shows the importance of Berta's sexual history in defending her. Berta's crime was described as the most horrendous known to the law, but we must question what would have happened if she was sexually active. Women's virginity continues to be a good highly valued by our communities. Similarly, the system that allowed soldiers impunity in the colonial period is the same that allows Eddie's freedom. We can see that analyzing a rape case can help us learn about women's stories and also the community surrounding them. Finally, learning about how women's sexuality was viewed in the past can give us a new perspective on what our sexuality and freedom, or lack of, means in our current society. If you want to learn more, you can go to your local library and check out these sources. Thank you for watching.